500 he does, okay, not 500, but 400 at least. Why should I do it like, tens of shows? So we solved that problem by actually talking to people. So we actually put that, so I had one person who went along with a laptop to different theatre owners. He showed it to them around 12 to 13 minutes of the clips of the movie, showing Nana and Dilip Prabhakar and a lot of presentation wise. And we actually had the people bought into our vision, saying that we are one of the big movie coming in, and that is going to be helpful to you. Because even theatre owners would like to have that movie. Why would they put that movie at 10 o'clock in the morning? If that movie is going to get a crowd in the 3 o'clock, they will not do it. There is no question of Marathi, Hindi and Tamil as an issue. The issue is the quality aspect and issue is the reach aspect. Now, the same guys, the same show that actually happened is that on 4th of November, when we were releasing it, the second challenge for me was, if Ravan picks up, we would have got washed off. Because then, because that's when the 4th of November, which was the following Friday, nobody had released the movie. In fact, Rockstar was planned for 11 because they had also left at 4th, just to have that after effects of Ravan. But we were just hopeful saying that it's a Diwali time, everybody's going to watch it, it's going to like 3,000 shows. So the rate of decay is going to be faster, and that happened. So we actually got into that 4th of November, and by 2nd or 1st of November, the Ravan was completely gone out. And then people were still having the holidays. Kids were not, they had returned from vacations, and the parents were to go to the offices because now the vacations are over for them technically. So they wanted some avenues for the entertainment, and I think that worked out well for us because we got 405 shows a day on day one. And on the first day itself, the movie got picked up so much, not because of the controversy, but because of the contents itself, that on the second day, we got it almost like 450 shows a day. So we were like exactly competing with what the likes of Ravan was doing. And eventually we took over because then we completed 100 days also. Because in these days of multiplexes, completing 100 days is not a very common scenario. But then we were fortunate to get it also to that level.
Excellent. What were the total costs involved for the production of the movie Devul?
So we are approaching the sensitive question, but I can still tell you the answer.
He said it was not a transparent industry.
So, it was a little bit of big budgeted movie as such because of the production values and type of the star cast that we had. So we spent around 2.5 crores in that, in production.
What about the audience, the NRI audience outside India?
Yeah, so that's what we did because I felt that many of the people, because they keep on reading E-Sakal and Lok Saptah and Maharashtra Times on the net, so they know what's happening in Pune and Maharashtra, right? Through their relatives as well as themselves. Every day, even they will check the newspaper getting loaded. So they know what's happening around. It's a question that they don't get to see that in United States. They can see that then through YouTubes. When you have got like 100 clips for like 100 parts of that movie, they'll keep on seeing it. They'll say, oh, that's awesome. So seeing in that YouTube small window, I said, let me myself release that movie there immediately. So we released in Maharashtra on 4th of November, and on 3rd of December I released in United States. So then there was no question of they having any piracy issues, and they went through a lot of Maharashtra Mandal shows, and we did like 23 consecutive shows on all these weekends, like every Saturday, Sunday. We went till end of March showing it to them, and then Star Prabha showed that on the satellite channels.
Talking about the distribution and distribution model of the movies, right now we have movie theaters where everybody goes and watches movies, but with Apple planning to come in India, the digital TV model is fast growing segment. So how do you see the digital TV model or the digital cinema model for that matter? How will it take over the traditional cinemas, and what would be the future of India? If at all?
I would still feel that it's a paradigm shift, mainly because of the technology penetration and the kind of literacy that we have to accept that technology. So it will still remain in the, there are always early adopters, right, who are always like, oh, Apple has launched new, let me buy iPhone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I got like 5 versions now. But apart from that, for a common man, the mass, to actually get a hold of that technology, it has to actually percolate into the depth of the society. That always takes a time. Number two, you can always correlate it by virtue of what's happening in the Western world. Google TV is there, it's still like struggling a lot. You have a lot of content providers. Now Netflix is one of the better option where you get that, but still, people would love to see it like on the big screens. Where you would get that feel. You sit along with somebody else, and somebody else is your family members. Sorry, I didn't mean that. And then you watch that movie in that spirit, right? So that effect has to be given. But you're right. Over the period of time, the technological directions may change. Today, even when we showed actually 405 shows a day, the number of prints that we had created were only 17 or 18 prints. Rest of it was all digital contents. You know, there are likes of UFO and Scrabble who actually transmit that digitally, and the theaters, multiplexes will accept it, and then they will telecast it right at 2 o'clock is like 2 o'clock show, right? I mean, when I used to go to that Niland theater on Deccan, you know, many of the times there those reels were like, you know, getting exchanged. So you will see like, you know, Amitabh dying first and then like having a love scene afterwards. So now that has happened because it's like all a digital feed that keeps on happening. So I think technology is making a big difference. That's increasing the horizons, but also that's actually reducing the shelf life of these products.
How many prints? How many shows will be there for Bharatiya next Friday?
So again, Bharatiya, we are trying our best to surpass what we did for Devil. Actually, one of the things I wanted to establish in Marathi industry was when you release the movie, tell your fellow producers that you are releasing that movie, so that he won't distribute the movie at the same day. Because otherwise, you look at month of April. Every Friday we had like 2-3 Marathi movies. You know, even if me as a person, I love to watch movies from these people. You know, am I going to go every Friday to watch the movies? No, I will probably watch once a month. So it means that 2 movies should have 1 month of a gap. So one of the things I wanted to say here was that when I announce the movie, I will tell people that when I'm going to release that. I mean, that's a Hindi model. It's better to imitate that. You know, you always know that some movie is going to come at a specific date, and then others will adjust it accordingly, because everybody has to do the business. It's not that I have to unnecessarily compete with you. It just accidentally we come at the same week, and my preparation is already gone, so I can't step back, you can't step back, and then we collide with each other, resulting into losses for both of us. So on 13th of March, when I announced Bharatiya, I said that I am releasing on 10th of August. And we are releasing on 10th of August now. Now there is not a single Marathi movie on 10th of August, neither on 3rd of August. So I have a clean slate for those 15 days, except Ekta Tiger, which was announced on 22nd, which was Eid, but they preponed it to 15th of August. But anyway, the market segment is different, so I don't see that as a competing at all in any way. It's like a completely segregation between the two projects. So only 2 tigers will fight there.
I think we'll have one last question. Yeah.
Sorry to bring you back from the interesting topic of Devul. There is your second passion. Back to the first passion, there is Optra. Now, I have grown with a company, Medicap, in Pune, which again started the vision of building IP and products. And we are successful to a stage where we realized that growth wouldn't come unless we diversify to services. And when the IPO happened, the pressure on growth was so much that 90% of the company is growing, etc. So how do you plan to resolve the same challenge with Optra now that you have IPO dreams between vis-a-vis investment in IP and growth through products versus outsourced development or contract services?
So ultimately you are talking about the revenue generation, right? I mean, ultimately that's like the bottom game. How much you get a revenue. The quickest for you to get a revenue, the real lowest hanging fruits are services. The hurdle there is that you don't have a surety for tomorrow. Anybody can come and just wipe you off. So that's the kind of a balance that one has to strike. Revenues can keep me, the services revenues can keep me growing and paying my utility bills. But the product can actually be the icing on the cake. So I think that will change from the DNA of the company to company. Some company may operate in a certain way. So probably there is no kind of a definitive science as such. I'm sure you can actually add more value on this question. But probably it's like, it varies. From the Optra's perspective, we would be focusing more on the productized differentiation, because to my knowledge, I don't anticipate or I don't want my Optra by design and definition. See, in the last 4 years, we grew from 2 to 200 people. I don't want to make 200 to 2,000 people, because then there are a lot of energies to manage that and make sure that I get that much of work. Because if every person I add up, I have to make sure that that much of a work I have. And then that like too much of this. Might as well focus on some of the critical areas that may get me significant delta premium in terms of the revenue generation than competing with somebody else next door and just talking about like H to H, what's your rate, what's my rate, retention, attrition, all of those such issues.
Sorry to be interrupting such a wonderful session, and we can go on for I'm sure 1 more hour at least, and it will be we'll learn more from you and it will be as interesting. But then we have some time constraints, so we have to stop. So It was really a great session and very, I would say, logical presentation and so on. And you talked about, you haven't done anything in business management anymore, you would like to learn. But I think you should go and teach, some of the management students. So, a big thanks from Ty and from everybody here for this session. And your career really has been very illustrious and multifaceted. So I have just one question for you. What are your next plans? Like you did businesses and now producing movies. So is there any other passion you have which you want to pursue?
Okay, so I think right now, these two businesses are keeping me too much busy. And though I started thinking about filling my weekends with this, I think the business challenges are consuming my 18 hours. So I just want to make sure that every entrepreneur is a happily married entrepreneur. So I think right now these are the two things. But then if I come across something new, probably not in the next 2-3 years, because I think my plate is more than full.
Okay. But I'm sure after a few years you will find something more interesting and challenging and would like to go there. And
Will you be willing to invest into the startup community of Pune? Aspiring entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I do actually. There are 3 companies where I already invested. I don't interfere in what they do, but I keep on helping them. It's still a small, so I believe that if I had to give you if I had to give somebody an advice, I had to make sure that I did it that first myself, because otherwise, then that becomes only a philosophy talk. But then yes, I have invested in those 3 companies. There was one proposal, and we had discussed that also with somebody here in that crowd in the past. But at the same point of time, I am actually interested to invest in those ideas which can get into a product, which can differentiate it. So more than the operational hurdles, I would like to handle only the technology and the finance and the marketing hurdles. So smaller the team, nicer the technology, closer to the customer. I think I love that, and
Thank you.
sure.
yeah. So thanks a lot, Abhijit, for coming here and for giving us so many tips. I think each one of us has a takeaway from this session. And a big round of applause for I would also like to thank Vivek Gupta for doing the Thai introduction as well as welcoming the guests. And thank you, Milind, for conducting this interesting session and doing the discussions with Abhijit. I would also like to thank the sponsors for this event, Clarion Venture Partners as well as Cosmos Bank and Kirloskar Chair. Now I would like to request Mr. Prasad Ghare of Cosmos Bank to present a memento to Abhijit. Thank you to the audience today for participating in the discussions and making it more lively. Thank you also to the charter members of TAI. I can see Vishwas and Ajay here, and all the volunteers who made this session possible. Now before I close, I would like to once again remind all of you of upcoming TAI events in the next few weeks. So we have breakfast session on 9th of August in the morning at 8:30 a.m. at Grub Shop on Law College Road. And the topic is challenges and issues in developing healthcare IT applications. Then we have a half-day workshop on IPR and legal aspects for entrepreneurs on Saturday 11th of August, and that's here, right?
Oh, that's
No,
Yeah, it means the same premises upstairs, yeah. And then on 17th August, we have a My Story session with Mr. Farooq, engineer. When I read this name, I was like, who is Mr. Farooq, engineer? And no, for a minute I was, but then I don't know if youngsters may not know, he is a legendary cricketer from the times of Ajit Wadekar and I think Sunil Gavaskar and also. It will be a very interesting session, so all of you should plan to attend. I don't know how many of you are not TAI members. How many are not TAI members? Yeah. So as you can see, we have very interesting sessions here, and during introduction, Vivek also mentioned all the TAI activities. So please become TAI members, and you can contact Mandar, and he will be more than happy to get you started as a TAI member. And then please fill the feedback forms are distributed or they are outside?
No, they are
Already, okay. So please fill the feedback form and we want to get your comments also if you have any suggestions about the programs that we do and so on. Yeah. So thanks Abhijit once more and